Coming up on Oakdale Update, we'll chat with City Administrator Craig Waldron, who will soon be retiring from his position. We'll learn about the upcoming Oakdale Lake Elmo Historical Society Ice Cream Social, and we'll tell you about a number of exciting events coming up in the city. Stay tuned. Oakdale Update is straight ahead. Hello and welcome to Oakdale Update. I'm your host, Frank Orsello. This is the City of Oakdale's news and information program about your community. Craig Waldron has been our city administrator since 1993. He'll soon be retiring from his position, and he's here today to talk with me. Craig, thank you for coming to Oakdale Update.
Thank you for having me.
After all these years, how many times have you been on, do you reckon?
Oh, 20?
At least.
I think so.
As it should be. Okay, so tell me about your previous job before you came to Oakdale.
Well, I had been involved in a lot of different public sector jobs, everything ranging from being with a county to actually with the state. Actually, it was interesting when Perpich was governor, Dayton was the commissioner of economic development, and actually worked for him for a while. But before actually coming here, I was a department head in Roseville, community development director, trying to figure out how to redevelop all those truck terminals.
Sure.
And a lot of that. So I was a department head before I came here.
What's your degree in?
My bachelor's is sociology. My master's is in urban and regional studies, and my doctorate's in public administration.
Okay, so when you were 9 years old, did you say, I want to be a city administrator?
Almost.
Believe
it or not, almost.
Did you really?
Well, it goes back to that Kennedy talking about asking not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And I couldn't quite figure out how I would do it or how it would shake out, but I always wanted to do something, you know, in the public sector or where you're making a difference in people's lives. So it does go back a long time ago.
Did you think of the Peace Corps too, I bet, huh?
All that stuff. Yeah, all that was on the table.
So you must be a product of the 60s, 70s, correct?
Oh, I am a classic product of the 60s and 70s.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So after you left Roseville, is that when you came to Oakdale? Is that
That's
correct?
when I came here in 93, correct.
93. All right, we'll get into that a little bit. Okay, well then I guess that's the question. How did you end up in Oakdale? What?
Well, again, because in Roseville I was doing a lot of the economic development and redevelopment stuff. Oakdale really wanted somebody with a development background and, you know, essentially somebody that understood this stuff. And it ended up a great opportunity for me. I got recruited and, you know, I was kind of called up and how would you like to come and be a city administrator but still get to do all this fun economic development stuff too. And boy, that was it. Great opportunity.
Did you have, was anybody running against you or were there other candidates?
Well, what had happened, there was kind of a stop and a start here where originally I had the offer and we weren't able to agree on price and a package at that point. Really a good process, really liked working with everybody, but we just didn't quite get there. Well, then they had a subsequent manager who later left fairly soon, and then they called me up and said, would you be interested again? And I certainly still was, and here I am.
Okay, now, what was the process at the time? I mean, if there were other candidates, and that, did you have to be interviewed? And
there were two different ones. The first one was really the long, drawn-out one where there's 4 or 5 candidates, and you're meeting with the council and the mayor and having dinner together and bringing in your spouse and all of that. The second one was quicker and faster because they determined that you know, the hiring was still basically fresh enough and the recruitment fresh enough that it was basically me coming out and talking with council and reaching an agreement.
Okay, so Is that same process still in effect now?
It depends. That'll basically be a decision by the new council, whether they want to do something like that, whether they want to use a recruiter, after we get through the next elections and the next set is on board. That'll be their decision in terms of how they want to do that.
Okay. So what attracted you to Oakdale way back then? 'Cause it had to be pretty rural, pretty...
Yeah.
Or was that part of it, is the fact that you could see the development potential?
Yeah, it looked like there was a lot of fun stuff to do. So based on what appeared to be here, and I always need things to do that interest me. I'm not a good maintenance person. I want to be doing things and trying to make things happen. It looked like a wonderful opportunity, and the City Council really seemed to be exhibiting a great mindset. They were very supportive, and they wanted to get things done, and so it was just a wonderful alignment of the stars at the time.
Was Carm the mayor at the time?
Carm was a council member.
He was a council member. Okay. Now, I know council and staff have a lot to do with the good things that came to Oakdale, but I know too you were the guiding force behind it. So could you take me through a process of development, a development project?
Sure. Probably the best example would be our most recent one that we're just delighted about, where we had to attack that old mall on 10th Street. And I've basically been working with that project the minute I came in the front door. So you can see it's like a 19 or 20-year project. But you had to get council's support and endorsement to go ahead to buy that person out, because they weren't going anywhere and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. So council had to take a calculated risk there, and they were very good about that. Then you need, strong staff that can get this stuff done, and they support it, and they're innovative in terms of looking at options there. Then you have to have, good legal consultants and fiscal people, and you've got to know the players. You have to know the process of negotiating, and we bought them all, sold bonds to do it, took it down, ended up with the senior citizen building coming in, which is outstanding, and now we've just had the announcement of Hy-Vee, and that'll essentially finish the mall redevelopment for us. But
Sure.
a long process where you need good politicians and good staff surrounding
Did you pull
you.
your hair out a lot on that project?
I did, yeah.
Did you?
It's well, particularly when you stop and think we've been at that for 20-some years.
Sure.
And trying to reach an agreement and almost having this worked out, and then that doesn't happen, and then they're not taking care of it. It's one of the few places where I've ever had a weed complaint based on a parking lot, and people are actually out there mowing a parking lot. So that goes to show you how far it was sinking.
So that was probably your proudest project in the city, would you
I
say?
think so. There's an awful lot of them here.
Yeah.
But
Name a couple other ones while we're at it.
Well, of course, some of the public things that we've done with the golf course and the ice arena and our nature center, those are really good public amenities that we got done. The industrial parks were very important. That was one of the first reasons I was brought in here, and then getting Emation and the corporate headquarters. So there's a lot of neat things that I look back very fondly.
Let's talk about some of the awards that have been heaped on you, I might add. Would you talk about some of those awards, and don't be shy, please?
I keep saying if you stay around long enough, people are eventually nice to you, right? Well, years ago, I got one that meant a lot to me. The Minnesota City Managers Association has a City Manager of the Year award, and that's always nice to be recognized by your peers and so forth. And then roughly 2 years ago, I've been a member of the Economic Development Association of Minnesota, and the president of that group provides an award to a person for career development in terms of economic development. So that was very nice to be recognized by the folks in the development field. But the one that just caught me completely off guard, didn't see it coming, kind of scares me what people can keep secret from our national or international association, ICMA. I got the Cookingham Award for the interns and the staff that have been developed over the years and so forth. So that was a really nice surprise, and nice to be recognized for all the people we've put out in the field and the interns that are out there working now. But like I said, I was clueless, didn't even know that was going on. Yep.
Give us because that's one of your prize projects is the internship. Why don't you give us a quick rundown on what that is?
Well, coming through the Urban Studies program in Mankato with Dr. Barrett, that was kind of taught us that that's just what you do. Somebody takes care of you, and then you take care of them and try to help people out. So it basically just came natural to me that we're going to have an internship program, and we're going to pick off the people that we see the best and the brightest and give them an opportunity and actual experience. So over the years, like I said, when you're around long enough, you end up with a long track record there. And we've just had some outstanding interns, some who have come back and stayed with us, others who have gone out and become managers. But this can be a hard business. So getting people in there and giving them access to department heads and how the system works, and giving them access to elected officials and so forth, I think makes a big difference for helping them kind of get their career together and making that next jump.
But now you had an inroad there.
I did.
You did. Tell us about that.
Yes, I cheated a little bit almost. Well, being at Hamlin and Metro State and the U as an adjunct faculty member, I'd often get to see these best and brightest early on. So if we had an intern slot open, I would pick them off and get them within our organization. And then what worked out really neat, it could go the traditional way where they spin off and they're a manager someplace else. But some of them we've kept, some of them we've brought back, and it worked out really well for us. So,
So other cities doing that kind of thing too now, you reckon?
yeah, they do. Although, again, I kind of had a little leg up there because I could see them in class early on and pick them off.
I can't believe that you weren't headhunted to death all the years that you were here in Oakdale. They must have been calling all the time, weren't they, for other jobs?
Yeah, that did happen, but things worked out here so well, I wasn't really interested. There are a couple of them I might have talked to a little bit or learned a little more about it, but this was a great place. And as I got older, I came to realize if you have good staff and a really good council to work for, and you have interesting things going on, the grass isn't necessarily greener someplace else.
It couldn't. I mean, I'm sure you were offered more money and all that, but was it worth it?
No. Here I still am, and I really came to like the community. We like where we are in the Twin Cities and so forth. So I really didn't have any desire to move.
That's interesting. That is good. I mean, because you read about sometimes surrounding communities that are having all kinds of problems with city administrators and with staff and with council people, right? And speaking of that, how did you get along with our staff, your staff and council people and the mayor?
Oh, I tell you, it's great, and that's one of the reasons I stayed. First of all, I have had outstanding council members to work with. You and I've talked about this. We can see some of the tumult going on in other areas, and ours are just steady. Just keep moving forward and getting stuff done. So outstanding city councils. The mayor, Carmen Serac, who has been mayor for the past 16 years, couldn't have asked for a better mayor to work with. And our staff is top notch. I am really surrounded by good people. They're just excellent, and we would not have got these things done if it wasn't for having a top staff. So I've been very fortunate to have excellent elected officials and excellent staff.
You've also had the good fortune of, there isn't a big turnover in staff at Oakdale, is there, as a general rule?
No, you're starting to see more of it now as us aging baby boomers
Yeah.
are moving on and so forth. But particularly at the department head level, I've been very fortunate. A couple of them I got to bring in, and the ones that are really good and you really hope they would stay, they've stayed.
That's good. Now you're okay. You're going to retire from this position. Now your next gig is going to be as a teacher, professor at Hamlin University.
That's correct.
How did this come about?
Well, I've been an adjunct prof at Hamlin for probably almost 20 years now. Off and on.
That long? I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
And of course, that's where I got my last degree also. So I've always had a relationship with Hamlin. And this is one thing that I always thought I'd like to do, in addition to having the dream job that I feel that I've had here. And what happened, one of their faculty decided to retire, and they wanted somebody with a strong local government background. Well, I just happened, to hit that window perfectly where, you've got the right degrees, you've taught before, and they know who you are, and there are a lot of good applicants, but they wanted that local government experience. So it's like, well, that window's open, and when those opportunities pop up, you have to strike while the iron's hot.
Now you and I have talked before. This wasn't just a matter of going and filling an application out, and it was a pretty good process.
It was a very, yes.
Tell us what that was like.
Oh, you have to interview with the search committee, you have to have dinner with part of the search committee, you have to go in and present to the whole faculty. Usually I'm not nervous about things, but that one had me sweating a little bit. You interview with the head of public administration, and then you end up interviewing with the dean. So it's a fairly long and extended process.
So where do you see yourself going with this job?
I'm very happy just to settle in and teach. I love working with the next generation, talking about the internships and stuff like that. So I'm perfectly happy to do that. I don't particularly, want to move up within Hamlin or be an assistant dean or anything like that. I'm just delighted to be there and be able to teach and work with that next generation.
You've told me before that two goals in your life were been to city administrator and teaching. What the heck?
Yeah, I know. It's just amazing. It's amazing. Yeah,
how could you ask for anything better, huh?
I know. I've had two dream jobs out there. The one I'm in now, and then I always thought I'd love to be a full-time faculty member somewhere, and here it is.
Now, you did mention to me before that you have to start a new course, two new courses, is it?
Yes, I do.
Now, that's from scratch, so how does that go?
That is a lot of work. I've had to do a lot of research, oftentimes where I have some free weekends or free evenings. I've been working on it, but it's a fun challenge too. I'm enjoying putting the classes together. You're learning new things, so it's okay. It's a lot of work, but it's fine.
One other thing now, we've talked about the staff and how good they are and how easy you've got along. What about the community leaders, the business people and all that? What are your thoughts on them?
I have the highest respect for the business community here and the business leaders. The Oakdale Business and Professional Association, you've been a player in that for years, has just been excellent. Business development was one of our priorities, and OBPA couldn't have been more open and welcoming and helpful. Made a lot of good friends through the organization. I just have the highest respect for the business community in this area. It is just incredible.
That OBPA is a pretty powerful, a good organization. I mean powerful, yes, but it is a good organization, isn't it?
Oh, just excellent.
And I don't know if you've ever run into that kind in other communities.
I have not seen it to this level where you can get so much involvement. I mean, you and I have talked about this before. Look at our Economic Development Commission, like 3/4 are the members of OBPA and so forth. So it's just an incredibly committed organization that's there to help the community.
Okay, Mr. Craig, we are down to 2 minutes, and I would like you, if you would, give us a summation, if you will, about your time here and your feelings and as you head out into the sunset.
It's not easy to leave. We've done a lot of neat things, but the hardest thing to leave would be the people and the relationships. Just incredible set of folks to work with and friends that I've made. So that's going to be the toughest piece is moving away from all these relationships. I've been very fortunate to have great support from my family. Mm-hmm. I've had excellent city council members to work for. I've had excellent staff. And then as you talked about, the community on the whole, the residents, the business community has just been wonderful. So it's been the best job somebody could ever hope for. When I say it's the dream job, I really mean it, and I'm going to miss the people.
Okay. Well, we're going to miss you too.
Well, thank you.
You're my friend, and it's been a lot of years.
Yes, thank you
good
so
years.
much.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. And good luck to you in your future. And I know you're going to do as good a job with your next part in life as you did with this one.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much,
Good
Frank.
luck to you.
Thanks.
It's time for a short break. But first, here's this month's trivia question. The Oakdale Lake Elmo Historical Society is holding an old-fashioned ice cream social on Sunday, September 7th from 2 to 4 p.m. at the one-room schoolhouse located at the Discovery Center at 4444 Hadley Avenue North. The schoolhouse is the former District 12 school that was the last one-room schoolhouse in Oakdale Township, which is known today as the cities of Oakdale and Lake Elmo. Our question is, what year did the Historical Society relocate the one-room schoolhouse to the Nature Center site? Was it 1994, 1998, or 2002? We'll have the answer later in the show. We'll be right back with more of Oakdale Update in just a minute.
It's been 7 years since the 35W bridge collapsed, and this August we talk with a survivor who shares memories of that night, as well as a local chaplain who was there to lend support.
A college student was in a horrible car accident, but one thing saved her life. We'll bring you her story, plus we'll tell you how to stay safe in the heat.
Join us for these stories and much more on the August edition of Your Police Report.
Welcome back to Oakdale Update. The annual Touch a Truck event takes place on Tuesday, September 9th from 5 to 7 p.m. at Walton Park. Here's some highlights from last year's event.
Oakdale City puts it on, and they invite city workers and local companies that have, I guess, large trucks that seem interesting. But our involvement has always been bringing a ladder truck and an ambulance and letting the people climb in and ask any questions they want, both trucks. The ambulance and the ladder. A lot of people see it, and a lot of people come by and they say, oh, I live right by the fire station. I see you guys leave all the time and stuff like that. So this is the chance for them to actually, come in. They can climb inside and sit down in the seats and touch the equipment and stuff like that. Oh, we'll always do it next year. It's almost automatic. The guys even ask, hey, when's the Touch a Truck going to be and stuff like that. I have people at work asking when the Touch a Truck is going to be and stuff like that. So it's always a huge popular event.
Another popular fall event is Family Fun Inflatables. Join us for the full day of bouncing fun in and on an assortment of inflatables on Saturday, September 20th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Walton Park. Be part of the American Spirit program provided by the Rotary Club of North St. Paul, Maplewood, and Oakdale. For only $48 a year, volunteers will place an American flag in your front yard on Memorial Day, Flag Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, 9/11, and Veterans Day. Flags will be removed in the evening on the respective 6 occasions. Proceeds are returned to the community via partnerships with local schools, scout organizations, food shelves, and other nonprofit organizations. To learn more about or to become part of this program, please go to the address on your screen or call 651-321-FLAG. We've mentioned it on previous shows, but just a reminder that the Farmers Market is still running every Wednesday until October 8th from 2 to 6 p.m. at Walton Park. It's a great place to pick up a variety of fresh fruits and vegetables, a bouquet of flowers, a loaf of bread, dessert, and more. We're just about out of time, but first let's answer a trivia question. We asked you, what year did the Historical Society relocate the one-room schoolhouse to the Nature Center site? The correct answer was 1998. The one-room schoolhouse was moved to the current site in the fall of 1998. Work on restoring the building started the next year. It took over 4,000 volunteer hours to restore the building to the configuration when it was built in 1888. So turn back the clock to 1888 and enjoy an old-fashioned ice cream social on September 7th at the Discovery Center located at 4444 Hadley Avenue North. That's all we have time for. For everyone at the City of Oakdale, thanks for watching.